The project is called Stay Alive, My Son. It is a VR interactive movie about 55 minutes long, and BOXX has donated all the computers for usage here at South by Southwest at their world premiere.
I looked heavily into the power of VR, and there's a lot of neuroscience behind that. So that after 3 minutes of being in a very immersive environment, both visually, auditorially, and also the ability to interact and grab things, your brain starts believing that whatever you're experiencing is your reality. And I thought to myself, well, that's an interesting proposition. How can we step inside the shoes truly of someone else and live their story, and through that transformative journey and experiencing that life of someone else, when we remove the headset, we'll be compelled to do something about it versus kind of going back into our lives and doing what we typically do. So you have the game engine, you have this metahuman, and then of course I wanted it to look photorealistic. So you have all of the assets, all the polygons, all the shaders, the lighting aspects, and you start building this thing up. And then of course, as a director, I wanted to honor the family, and I wanted to bring real actors inside the game engine.
The role of young Thai, actually in the very beginning, I actually declined it. I did. And it was for the purpose of authenticity, because I am not of Cambodian descent. And I was very concerned with Victoria doing something that already has such a very big, presence in terms of the book and the movement and the content of this, particular story. So she had to coerce me and really kind of convince me of the capability that I had within me to do it. So that turned out to be a blessing in disguise. I was really, really just overwhelmed that she believed in me, that she thought that I could transform myself into that. And so I did an extensive amount of research into the events of the Khmer Rouge during the 1970s in Cambodia, as well as kind of looking at the actual language, because there were components of there that were really necessary to evoke the way that Pinyate talks and kind of the chants and the rituals that he goes through when he's calling out for his son. So I consulted with an actual Cambodian person who knew the language that could actually translate and kind of give me a little bit of that feedback, insight, because I wanted to bring it as much of the authenticity as I could. It was truly just an incredible experience, and I had no idea the technical part of what I was walking into. So that was a really big challenge in itself as well, because it was literally just an entire big green stage, a green screen stage. So I'm not really used to it. I'm used to working alongside actual living people and practical sets and so forth. So that was kind of a really great journey to go on.
With VR, it's tricky because you need to maintain 60 frames per second, so that as people are walking through that virtual space, the frame rates are not dropping. So all of a sudden, your minimum requirements of your computational power and as well as your graphics power has to be at a certain threshold so that audiences actually enjoy the experience and not have an unpleasant one. And this is when we spoke to a new friend of mine, and Rick at Intel, and I said, Rick, we're world premiering at South by Southwest. The piece is finished. It's massive. It's beautiful. It's all the things I've ever wanted it to be. It has all those components. I have my metahumans. I have my volumetric capture. I have my family. I have my beautiful photorealistic environments. I have all the things that I ever dreamt of, but I don't have the computers for it. And because the experience is 55 minutes, it's a feature basically. We needed to have a lot more people be able to screen it at the same time, so that more people can actually spread the story of Pinyatai. And that's when Rick called up the folks over at BOXX, and to my luck, they had a system that not only was the minimum requirements, it actually superseded those requirements.
The BOXX Apex S3 workstation provides an experience like no other. It is an absolute high-end machine and is powered by an Intel 13th generation processor, as well as NVIDIA ProViz graphics.
We had no frame rate issues, no one got sick, everyone enjoyed it, and that really is sustained by the power of your workstation. And it allows creators such as myself to have that freedom to be creative and let that creativity soar and not feel like they're being constrained by the technological hurdles, but also computationally, and that audiences could enjoy it and kind of share the story and be part of the story and kind of have my dreams come true.
Maybe this is another tool to help mobilize, whether it's governments, whether it's municipalities, whether it's countries, to start looking at this could be a way to then completely amplify and bring more reconciliation and more reunification of families and people that have been separated in these kinds of tragedies that have happened in the world. So I think the sky's the limit for this.
It makes me a little emotional. Makes me a little emotional because when you're working so hard towards a project that means so much to you and with a story that means so much to you, to have someone just kind of champion you and say, yes, we'll get you what you need. And then the guys are here helping me run the booth. They've gone above and beyond. And when you're up this, uphill battle for this idea of common good and to change the world and to do something really positive with the work that has inspired you through your entire profession, it just gives you those wings that says there's people that are behind you and then believe in what you're doing and want to reshape that future. So thanks very much, and I hope all of you get a chance to see Stay Alive, My Son, and buy BOXX.